Hey guys, what's up? It's me, Andreas. Here we are in Whistler, and it's another beautiful spring sunny day. As of late, all of the days have totally just blended into each other. There hasn't been any new snow in, I don't know, maybe about like a week, 2 weeks, but every day has been bluebird, sunny skies, and fantastic spring conditions. So you pretty much have to wait until after 12 o'clock every day to get out there because in the morning it's so rock solid. But in the afternoon, everything softens up and becomes super slushy, almost like you're riding along on, an icy or what do they call those? Like iced cappuccino drinks. So the snow is really pliable. It's really soft. It's really fun. Today I'm testing, or I'm not testing, but today I'm further riding my, Today I'm using my mind expander again, the Jones mind expander in a 162. I really just like the surfy shape of this guy, and I'm trying to really feel out the difference between this board and the Lib Tech Orca. You know, the mind expander is a completely different feeling board, even though it's sort of designed to be a similar sort of category. Yeah, so even though these boards are sort of designed for the same type of riding style, they're completely different boards by feel. When I get on them, the mind expander is definitely more of your traditional shape. It's flat. That flat shape is more predictable. It's more consistent feeling. And because it's flat, it's definitely very surfy feeling. You know, I can really throw my tail around. I can really get the board to surf. It's more fun to ride this board in a little bit of a wider stance. It gives you better overall stability and maybe a little bit more style on the board. The T-Rice Orca is, I would say, the more versatile board, a board that maybe is easier to ride in all conditions versus the mind expander definitely will excel in powder. When I'm on hard pack with it, I find that the front shovel of the board isn't very useful, and therefore I'm trying to keep it down. I'm trying to keep that shovel from flopping around too much. You can imagine that front shovel is fantastic for deeper snow conditions where I want the board to plane out of the snow and float, but in the conditions that we have right now, I'm relying more on the flat portion of this board, and I'm leaning back farther onto the tail to give it more of that surf feeling. In general, this board, you can really feel that surf-inspired shape. It feels surfy. It feels like it wants to slide around and pivot easily. The rockered point in this board, or the point where the contact point starts, is actually like here. It's before the insert point. And so because of that, it makes the board very easy to pivot and to maneuver and turn. Overall, I find that this board is maybe a little bit slower edge to edge because it's so wide. It takes a little bit more of a commitment to get it into the turn, but because it has that taper, because it is a narrower tail, it is still easy to pin it around. There is a slight magnetraction on this board as well. I think it's only a 3-point magnetraction, a mellow magnetraction as they would call it. But it definitely, you can still feel it. It helps you hook in when you're on just a groomed run, and the board still rails a nice carve. It just sort of, it engages the carve slightly differently, and the board feels different in general. I would say it's of a comparable flex, but the board feels more consistent being flat than the Lib Tech. I find that I can ply the Lib Tech around a little bit easier. My Orca has maybe a slight more slight more versatility to it. It's easier to pivot. It's easier to get it into switch, especially because of the rockered zone between the feet. You can imagine any board that has that rockered zone between the feet is very easy to spin on. It feels a little bit less catchy, versus this board being flat. It's still very catch free, but it feels more stable, it feels more consistent, and it feels a little bit more old school. But yeah, guys, overall, I'm really loving the surf-inspired shape of this board. You know, I find that I can come up onto a slightly slanted lip and really just surf out the edges. It's just a super fun board to ride, and I'm actually pretty amazed with how well it's doing in conditions like these where we don't have any new snow or powder snow. The shaping by Chris Christensen is supposed to be inspired by a surfboard for the kind of shaping that you'd see on a surfboard for riding waves. However, even though we're riding snow, at this point in the season, I find that it's actually like a fun cross between the two sports, because especially at the end of the day when we have that really sloppy, surfy, wet, slushy snow, it almost feels like you're on water. It feels like you're wake skating or wake surfing, which is very similar to surfing in general. So it's almost like a very close hybridization between the sports. You know, the two sports inspiring each other and pushing the boundaries of what's possible forwards. So I really am stoked on the overall shaping of this board. I think it's really cool. All right, guys, so some people would say that the trees are no good this late in the season. Without powder, why would you want to ride the trees? Nah, it's all a lie. If you go into the trees late season, you can find some schmooey, fun, surfy turns. So I'm going to go find some fun lines and follow along on my mouth cam journey through the forest, back down to the groomed run.